Hi, anyone and everyone. This is Kim the Humble Hermit with Come As You Are Oracle. That sounded weird. Oracle. I'm going to do the collective for today. Today is Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. You may follow me on the Talk, the Tube, my blog, or not. Totally up to you. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it doesn't fit, don't make it fit. If some of it fits, God's kiss. We love that for you. Whatever does not, just leave it on the table for someone else. You don't need to take on energy that wasn't meant for you. Not everything is meant for you. Listen to the noggin. God's in there. We're going to use Rare Rebel. You can find this deck on Etsy. Just put in Rare Rebel. It's the Rare Rebel shop. This tree in the backyard totally blocks the neighbors, from being able to see into the neighbors, which is fine because then they can't see me, right? I can walk around naked. Nobody can see me. The thing is I can see one little section here where their like garage is open, and sometimes I'm like, what are they doing in there? I can't see anything. Nosy neighbor. That's me. I hope everybody's having a good week so far, a good Tuesday. I came home, I took a shower, and I'm pretty sure I fell asleep in my rocking chair. I'm pretty sure I told people at work I was going to do that. And then I got up and my bones were creaking. And I was like, I think I got to move. Like, I think I got to get up and do something. I think. We got one on the table. Two on the table. Of course, I'm sitting there in my chair and I can hear it in the background, right? I can hear and I wake up and look down and it's Bubbles looking at me. I'm like, what do you want? You already ate. What do you want from me, man? Man? Ooh, okay. Okay. We got 3 on the table. One card is in reverse. We got 4 cards on the table. One card is in reverse. Okay. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but my friend got me hooked on this. My friend at work got me hooked on, I don't know how you say his name, Entertainer Floss the Mac. Have you ever heard of him? He's a stand-up comedian, but he does these videos for TikTok where he pretends to be a psych patient. He literally uses his own house, okay, as like the psych ward, and he plays almost every single character in the videos. And there's a bunch of different characters, but the main character is psych patient Angela, and he plays this woman who's crazy, right? Y'all, when I'm telling you that I'm invested in this story, I'm invested in this story because last week he started doing videos of Angela where she's not crazy, she's taking her meds. He's called Entertainer Floss the Mac. Follow him. Well, you don't have to follow him if you don't want to, but look at his videos on TikTok. They're all titled psych patient, psych ward, Angela psych patient, things like that. They are hilarious. She got me started on this. I can't stop. Every day he posts a new video, a couple of videos. Like I can't stop. It's I don't know. I love it. I love it. I want to go see him. I want to go see his comedy show, but I don't think he's coming to Chicago. Otherwise, I would go. I would go with her. If she would drive to the city, because I hate driving to the city, I'd buy her ticket. I got to talk to her about it. Go to his website and see what it says. All right, we've got 6 on the table. One's in reverse. I do have a card here. It came out sideways, so I'm leaving it sideways, but we're going to talk about it. Okay, we're going to do 2 more shuffles. A lot of cards wanting to pop out, but not popping out. We got 7 on the table. 8 on the table, but it's on the floor. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, I can't get it because of my flippin' nails. All right. You gotta be kidding me. Okay. All right, last shuffle. Last shuffle. It's the nails. I'm trying to get them to fall off. They won't fall off. It'll be a month next week since I've had them. It'll be a month on the weekend, I think. They won't go away. They won't leave me alone. And I thought when I was at work today, I hit it. I was moving a box and I hit it and I thought I snapped it back. And I thought, oh, okay, maybe it's actually fell off. No, it's still on there. Oh, look at that. Bottom of the deck. So we got 9 cards with bottom of the deck. Bottom of the deck is Divine Feminine Energy. It's interesting. And here's why. We've got water element. A water element is Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, or Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, however you want to say that. Technically, the beginning of the year is, what is it, Aries? So, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Technically. Trauma. Divine Masculine Energy in the reverse. We're going to talk about it. We got Forgiveness, came out like this. We got Solar Plexus Chakra. Sacral Chakra. We got Take Action. Slow Down. And then bottom of the deck, Balance. Feminine, masculine, take how it resonates. You can change this Divine Masculine into a feminine if you want to. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to read it as a masculine. And it's a Divine Masculine energy in the reverse, meaning this is no Divine Masculine. It's masculine, but no Divine Masculine. Again, a water element. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. However you want to say that. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. I used to have my own way of saying them until I realized technically you're supposed to follow the way of the elements, but whatever. They're lucky I can remember the elements at this point, right? And I'm actually someone that, like, I'm Gemini, Virgo rising. I have an Aries moon. My love is in Gemini. Like, I'm very in tune with my elements, okay? I don't know everybody else's elements, but I know elements, you know? But saying them in the order, like, people, okay. Not to be an asshole, but one of my favorite readers is always quick to point out oh, this is like a Cancer, or that's a Pisces, or that's an Aries, or that's a Taurus, or that, yeah, that's a Leo. But then when they get confronted with oh, water elements, oh, that's a Cancer, Aquarius, Pisces. No, no, Aquarius is an air sign. It's not. I love her to death. I love her to death, but she still doesn't. She still doesn't get it. Anyway, anywho, this is a divine masculine energy, a water element. So if they're not a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, they have it in their chart. Okay. Again, a birth chart. Go get one. You can get them for free online. A very basic birth chart for free online. A-Lab is where I got mine. Is it A-Lab or iLab? I think it's ALABE.com, I think. And you just scroll down and it says free birth chart, and you click it and you put in, you don't even need to put in your name, but they ask for your name, date of birth, time of birth, and where you were born. That will give you your most accurate birth chart. Okay? It's just a basic birth chart. It'll give you your whatever, your 12 houses or whatever it is. And it's informative. It's you. It's your makeup. It defines who you are. Or you define that if you think about it. You are who you are, but it tells you who you are. You already know who you are. This is just going to reaffirm who you are to you. Birth chart. This masculine suffers from trauma. Whether, I mean, we all know this is like a child on this picture, a teenager or whatever, I don't know, a kid. So it could be childhood trauma. I'm of the I'm of the firm belief that you pick up trauma your whole life, from baby to 90-year-old person. You're always going to pick up trauma. So if you have childhood trauma, most likely you have teenage trauma, most likely you have young adult trauma, trauma up the yin yang, right? This masculine is in the reverse because this is someone that has trauma and they haven't dealt with their trauma. This is someone being called to deal with their trauma. This is someone with the forgiveness card, okay? It's not in the reverse because they should forgive. And it's not in the upright because I don't think they're looking for your forgiveness. Whoever this is, they need to forgive themselves. That's one of the parts of healing from your trauma, right? Is going back and seeing yourself as a little kid and knowing that you did the best that you could for yourself at the time with what you knew, and knowing now as an adult that if you were to go back in time, you would save the shit out of that kid. You would fight for that kid because that was just a kid. You were just a kid. You didn't know. You didn't know how to fight, more than likely, right? Now as an adult, you know. You would protect yourself. And your kid, your inner kid, thanks you for that. You move on. You protect yourself as an adult. Because if you don't protect yourself as an adult, what does that inner child think? You're just not, you couldn't protect me then, and now you know, but you're not going to protect yourself now? But you do, don't you? Most people do. When they start healing, they realize, I mean, why have I been on a celibate journey for 2 years? I don't want to be out there with these raggedy men and women that don't know what the fuck they want, that are out there passing around STDs and just acting fucking fools. I don't want any of that. I'd rather come home and do nothing. I'd rather come home and play with my cats and put a TV dinner in the oven and watch a tarot reading or watch an old movie from the 90s or sit out on my deck and get some sun. I don't want to deal with some idiots that aren't figuring their shit out, that don't know what the hell they're doing, that don't know what the hell they want, that keep living the same cycle over and over and over and over again because they refuse to listen, because they refuse to see the signs. Because when God sends them a gift, they can't even look it in the eye and be like, damn, that was a gift. I'd rather come home and do nothing. I'd rather come home and write a book. I'd rather come home and paint a cover for my book. I'd rather come home and write up plans and try to figure out how I'm going to publish my book than be out there in them streets, right? Who wants to be out there in them streets? Explain to me the draw. Explain to me the allure of being out there in them streets. This person, this masculine, they need to forgive themselves. They need to acknowledge their trauma and work from there. Whoever this person is, they need to work on some, I'm just gonna come out and say it, like some sex stuff. Maybe they're a sex addict. Maybe they just use sex as a tool to get by, right? Maybe they don't know how to control themselves. Maybe they're, a little bit of a Moor. A Moor is a man whore. Okay? They're a Moor. I went over this with my friend last week at the Taco Fest. I'm like, a merce is a man purse. A myriad is a man period. And a Moor is a man whore. Like, there's, if you've never heard, just so you know, the merce I got from, I think it was from Seinfeld. It was either, or maybe it was Friends, one or the other. The merce is where I got that from. The other ones, I don't know if I got the myriad from somebody else or if I just came up with that on my own. But either way, when you think about it, it's true. It's true. And that's okay, right? That's okay. Men have emotions. Men should be allowed to feel. The reason why we are where we are as a society, the reason why men are where they are, is because they're not allowed to feel. They've never been allowed to feel. You put them in a little box. You tell them you have to be the man. You have to provide. You have to take care. You have to have a family. You have to have a job. You have to have the house. That's why they are where they are. Half of them need help and don't get help, and the other half of them have their heads so far stuck up their butt because they think they're better than women. You're not better than women. Women aren't better than you. We're all the same. We were all created equally, whether you like it or not. And women have come to the conclusion we can take care of ourselves. We don't need a man. We might want a man, but we don't need a man or a woman. Take how it resonates. It doesn't matter. And there's all these men out there that just cannot handle it. They cannot handle it. And they don't know how to get their shit together. Then I guess you're going to be alone the rest of your life. And the sad thing is, because they're in this space mentally, because they've been taught to be this way by society, by the society they created, by the way, women are happy being alone. I'm perfectly happy being alone. Do I want to be alone for the rest of my life? No. But I'm happy. I'm fulfilled. I like what I do. I like being on my own. I like being by myself. Would I like a companion, a lover, a spouse? Of course. But I'm not going to settle. I already did that. I'm not doing that again. And men aren't like that because they were taught if they go out there, if they get a job, if they work their ass off, that they get to come home to a wife and a family every day. And then as they get older, they get to come home to the grandkids, the great grandkids, right? And when that gets taken away, because they, when that gets taken away, oh my God, what happened to the dream? Now it's a man crisis, right? Like, oh my God, like we're all going to be alone. And then instead of trying to figure themselves out, instead of trying to heal themselves from the shit that they started, right? Because it's a man's world out there. Everything was created by man. Society was created by man. Let's just be honest. Instead of healing themselves, then they decide, well, we're going to put it on the women. We're going to put it on the women. Wrong answer. Wrong answer, sir. Go see a therapist. You need to see a therapist. When you finish your therapy and you're a little bit more healed and you're a little bit more in touch with yourself and everybody else around you, then you will be worthy of companionship, whether that's from a woman or a man. Anywho, my rant is done for the day. That was my rant. When this card came out and I looked at all these cards, and this is a masculine energy, right? Someone that should be divine, but they're not, because they're having a moment. This person is of the light. Whoever this water element, quote unquote, divine masculine is, they are of the light, or they're supposed to be. Okay? Whoever this masculine energy is, they have purpose. I mean, we all have purpose, but what I'm saying is, this is someone that was supposed to be divine. Like, they were supposed to live a more positive, healing life. And for whatever reason, because they had too much trauma and they didn't take care of it. And again, more or less forgive themselves, right? Because at the end of the day, you might not be able to go back and confront a perpetrator or confront somebody that abused you. But at the end of the day, you can forgive yourself for what you were able to do and what you weren't able to do at the time, and you can move on. And you can take better care of yourself today. That's the thing. When you don't do that, when you don't heal from this trauma, when you don't forgive yourself, and when you don't change the way that you're living right now, that's the problem. Like I said, this person might have some issues with sex. They might rely on sex too much. Maybe they're an addict. Maybe they just don't know how to keep their legs shut, their dick in their pants. I don't know. But it's more than likely due to the trauma, right? If you've ever been sexually assaulted, raped, okay, and I don't care if I'm just going to repeat this because I haven't said this in a very long time, and I got some new followers, new subscribers on here now. I'm going to say this for you guys. I don't give a fuck if you've got triggers. I have triggers. I deal with my triggers every day. Deal with your triggers. I'm going to use terms like sexual assault. I'm going to use terms like rape. I've been raped 3 times. I don't have a problem hearing it. If you have a problem hearing it, then you need to take care of that. I love you, and you need to take care of that. Whoever this masculine is, maybe they had sexual assault, sexual trauma, or maybe they watched it happen to someone that they loved, like a mom or a sister or an aunt or a grandma or something. I don't know. But it messed them up. And something to do with sexual desire, needs, whatever the case, this person needs to figure out and take care of. Because it's almost like they let it rule their life. Like they're steeped in sexual energy. And I will say this all day, every day. Yes, I've been on a celibate journey for 2 years. I very, very much have no regret. I love being on my celibate journey. I'm going to continue to probably be on my celibate journey. And I love that for myself. I haven't found anybody that I'm willing to break that for. I'm not saying you need to be on a celibate journey. I'm not saying that this water element masculine needs to be on a celibate journey. I'm just saying if we don't heal ourselves from the trauma and we don't heal the byproduct of it, right? Because when we experience sexual assault or rape or we see it, we often tend to over-sexualize ourselves. It's a fact. It's science. Go see a therapist. They will tell you the same thing. I can't tell you how many women I know that were molested, raped, sexually assaulted, and today, a lot of them over-sexualized. They don't, they're out in them streets. Or if they're not out in them streets, they're with one person, but all they ever think about is sex. Because they don't know how to channel that energy. And they get that energy because they weren't able to control that energy in the past. When you're a little kid and you're molested, little kids are supposed to be playing with Barbie dolls and G.I. Joe. They're not supposed to be having sex. And when you're an adult and you look back on that and you don't know how to deal with that, you're going to continue to be that way. You're going to continue to channel that sexual energy in a negative way instead of a positive way. Guys, I've been there, done that. And I've said this before. I've done some crazy shit in my life and been with some, been in some not so great situations. And I still look at my past sexual experience. I haven't been with a lot of people. I really have not been with a lot of people. In fact, if I told you how many people I'd been with, you'd probably be like, that's it? Like, that's it? The thing is people that have experienced the same things that I've experienced, right? Molested when you're a little kid, raped multiple times, sexually assaulted multiple times. A lot of people don't know what to do with that sexual energy, and it continues to be a negative in their life. They continue to put negative energy into it instead of turning it into a positive. And I see a lot of women, especially a lot of women, not so much men. I really haven't personally, just me personally, I haven't encountered a lot of men that were like molested as kids. I know a few that were sexually assaulted as young men, but they didn't do that. They didn't turn out like that. But at the same time, like that is technically more than likely what would happen. I'm just saying, whoever this is, they need to get a hold of whatever this is. But they're not going to be able to get that under control if they can't forgive themselves for what was done to them, what happened, what they saw, Because again, this person is only going to step into the light and be divine when all of this comes full circle and their life comes back together. Because I mean, that's what this is. Like, they're supposed to take action on themselves. They're supposed to heal themselves. Whoever this masculine is, take your time. If you're a masculine, if you're watching me, take your time. You don't have to heal yourself in a day. You don't have to heal yourself in a year. Healing is a forever process. Once you consciously decide to start healing, you're going to be healing until the day you pass. And technically, you've been healing since the day you were born. You just didn't really realize it. You're just going to bring more balance to yourself, to your life, to your purpose. And I know I know sometimes it's hard for people You know, they live a certain way, they live a certain lifestyle, and they're like, well, if I heal myself, you know, I'm not going to be able to hang out at the bar every night. I'm not going to be able to hang out with my friends. I'm not going to be able to fuck around and do this, that, and the other. You still can. You just need to have a little more decorum, have a little more pride in yourself, love yourself a little bit more, to know your limits, right? Know when you're doing yourself harm and not good, because that's the whole point of healing, is to stop harming yourself. When you're not healing, when you're living that toxic karmic lifestyle that you've only ever known because of this, the trauma cycle, when you're constantly living that in a loop, like you don't know, you don't recognize. When you get out of that loop and you can look back and you could be like, damn, I was hurting myself. Like I was doing as much harm to myself as the original trauma did, right? Maybe even more so, because you were trying to not look at this. You're trying to hide from this. But when you recognize it, when you bring it out into the open, when you talk about it and you let it out, when you release that energy, you can release whatever those demons are that have a hold of you and start living the life you were supposed to be living from the beginning. Does that mean you're going to be perfect? Absolutely not. Humans are not perfect at all. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes every day, and I will until the day I die. And thank God for that. I don't want to be perfect, but I don't live the way I used to live. I love myself more today. And really, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Why am I okay, why am I picturing Jenny from Forrest Gump? You guys remember that part of the movie? She was molested by her dad when she was a little kid. Nobody helped her, nobody stopped it. And as an adult, she became promiscuous. She got involved with men that weren't good for her. She ended up getting HIV, AIDS. And I don't want to say, oh, do you want to end up there? Because not everybody's going to end up there, right? But how long did it take her to recognize that she was choosing her father every time she got with one of those guys that beat her, used her, raped her, whatever? That was her dad over and over and over and over again. Why did she choose those men? Because that's what she knew. That's what she grew up on. That was her dad. That's all she knew was abuse. And yeah, you could say, well, she had Forrest. Like, how come she couldn't recognize Forrest was good and she deserved good? Because again, she was a little kid. That was her friend. But the male influence in her life, the person that was supposed to provide and take care of her, didn't. So she looked for that in every man going forward. She looked for that. It's like a homing missile, like like a homing device. Like, oh, there's the shitty guy. I gotta latch onto him. That reminds me of my dad. Did she really know that? No, it's subconscious because she didn't heal from this. And it probably wasn't, I mean, back in the day, if you're raised in rural, they were in Alabama in the movie, right? Wasn't it Alabama? If you're raised in rural areas, you might not really even recognize. She probably didn't even know that what her dad was doing to her, other dads did not do to their kids. She thought that was normal. That's her dad. There's actually I think I've talked about it on here before. There's actually a Netflix documentary about It was a father-daughter team. She wasn't really his daughter at all. She was a little girl that this man kidnapped, and they portrayed themselves as father-daughter. They actually had a sexual relationship, and I think she had one or two kids with him. I can't remember. But it was a documentary on Netflix, and he ended up unaliving her, basically. And all of her friends from when she was kids and whatever, like, told the story of like meeting the dad and, you know, her home life, and it was just kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, like, if you know, Jenny from Forrest Gump, she didn't know. She picked her father every time until one day she probably woke up and she's like, "What the fuck am I doing? Why do I keep choosing these shitty men?" Ah, epiphany moment. And then she chose Forrest. Whoever this is, the potential is there for healing. The potential is there for forgiveness. The potential is there to recognize the trauma. I don't think we ever get over trauma. Let's just be honest. I don't think we ever get over it. But once we recognize it and we forgive ourselves and we make a commitment to ourselves to go on in our lives more positively, I think it's easier to deal with it. I think it's easier to look at the past and say what it was, but keep moving forward, because the past is in the past. It can't hurt you. You know, when I was molested by my cousin and his friends, like, and I wasn't even really I mean, I was molested, but I wasn't molested, right? I was touched inappropriately by his three friends while he watched. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I think my uncle was there. I'm not too sure. Like, I have like sketchy memories about it sometimes. But like, I recognize it, right? I'm healing from it. Every day I heal from it. But I no longer look back on that little girl as helpless, because now as an adult, I'm not. You know what I mean? Does that all make sense? Anywho, I'm going to leave it there. I think I've rambled on enough. 38 minutes I've rambled on. You all can send me a check for $100, because that's what it costs for 38 minutes therapy session. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I hope it resonated for you. I actually hope it doesn't resonate for you, but I hope it resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope, if anything, you were entertained. I hope you all have a great day and or evening, wherever you are in this beautiful world. I'll talk to you later.